You spent 35 years teaching Black history, but what is one of the most important lessons you've learned from actually investigating into Black history, being a person greatly involved in the African American community and history?
I continue to evolve. I learn more. You know, it's the learning process continues. It continues on and on and on. I have actually revamped my teaching several times in the last 5 years because of the students who come before me. The student today is not the student of 10 years ago, of 25 years ago, of 30 years ago. And one of the things that I've noticed over the past 35 years is that a lot of things change, and then a lot of things don't change. And so, you know, I learn from students. I learned over the years that I have to be flexible. That rigidity sometimes just doesn't get it. I understand that you learn differently than students learned just 12, 15 years ago. I think 20 years ago there was no internet to the extent that it is today. Everything is instant now. I mean, you can pick up your phone right now, and you can do social networking, you can do the internet. I mean, everything is right here. You can actually sit there and while your professor is lecturing, check him or her out. Is this right? Is this wrong? So we have to adapt. That's what I've learned over the years. You've got to adapt to a changing student, to a changing environment, to the needs of the community. You can't remain static.
Okay, the topic of tonight's lecture is my 35-year journey teaching Black history. What are some of the highlights or some of the main points that you want to stress to our students tonight?
I think, number one, I think the life of anyone sitting here, I think the life of Dr. Wilkins, of the professors in history, professors in chemistry, I think anybody who has been doing this for any length of time has a story to tell. And my philosophy is that we need to continue to train, to teach, to bring along, you know, succeeding generations so that they will replace us, that they will do a better job than we're doing. So, you know, I like to be an inspiration to students. When I walk into the classroom, the way I present material is in an inspirational fashion, to the extent that you leave with something that you can take. For example, I had someone to call me who was in my class in 1979. I don't remember the student, but he called me from Washington, D.C., and he said, I just want to tell you that you said something in 1979, and I was walking down the street in Washington, D.C., and I thought about what you said, and that was about 32 years ago, and I had to call you and say thank you. So you know, you never know how the extent to which you are reaching people when you're standing up there, sitting up there lecturing. But when people call you, write you, and you have impacted them in some way, hopefully a positive way, you know, that's what it's all about for me.